Hey everyone, ready to face your fears?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it. This deep dive, we're taking you into the heart of the Alien
A
franchise
horror classic.
to explore just what makes it so terrifying and so enduringly popular.
I think a lot of it has to do with how it plays on some pretty deep-seated anxieties.
That's what we'll be unpacking, from the origins of the xenomorph to its impact on sci-fi and horror and even beyond.
The Alien films, I think they offer a lot more than just jump scares.
Right.
They really make you think.
And that's what makes them so fascinating to dissect.
Yeah.
So let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
1979, Ridley Scott unleashes Alien on the world. And this wasn't just your typical monster movie.
It was a game changer.
Set it apart.
It was groundbreaking for a few reasons. First, the whole concept. Like, imagine a haunted house, right?
Okay.
But in space.
A haunted house in space. I like that.
Yeah. But it's not just a gimmick. The Nostromo, the ship where it all goes down, it wasn't some sleek, futuristic spaceship. It was gritty, industrial. It felt real.
And that made it so much creepier.
Exactly. You could almost smell the engine grease and feel the cold metal.
And then you bring in the xenomorph itself, H.R. Geiger's biomechanical nightmare.
A masterpiece of design.
It's become this icon of horror, but there's something strangely beautiful about it, too, isn't there?
There is. It's repulsive, yeah, but mesmerizing at the same time. That exoskeletal structure, the elongated head, the teeth.
It's all designed to make your skin crawl.
It is. Geiger was a genius at blending the organic and the mechanical in this really unsettling way.
And there's that sexual element to the design, too, which just adds to the creepiness.
Subliminal, but it's there. It's like he tapped into our deepest, darkest fears.
And speaking of dark, Alien doesn't shy away from bioethics either. I mean, that chestburster scene.
Ugh, so disturbing.
Is it just about the shock value, or is there something deeper going on there?
There's definitely a deeper level to it. The film raises questions about corporate greed, right? And humanity's tendency to meddle with things we don't understand.
The Weyland-Yutani Corporation.
Yeah, they're the ones who send the Nostromo crew into that mess.
They're willing to risk their lives just to capture the xenomorph.
All for their bioweapons division. It's chilling.
And that corporate greed, it's a theme that plays out throughout the whole franchise.
Oh, yeah. It's a constant.
But let's fast forward a bit
Okay.
to 1986. James Cameron takes over with Aliens, and it's a whole different beast, isn't it?
It is. Cameron amps up the action,
Definitely.
turns it into action horror.
And we see Ripley become a full-fledged action hero.
Yeah, she really comes into her own in Aliens.
Yeah.
But there's also this underlying critique of military might in the film.
Oh, how so?
The colonial Marines, they go in all gung-ho, overconfident,
Yeah.
and they get totally outmatched, not just by the xenomorph's physical strength, but by their intelligence.
Their hive mentality.
Exactly. It's like nature finding a way to overcome even the most advanced technology.
And then you have Ripley's relationship with No.
Oh, such a powerful element in the film.
It adds this whole other dimension to the story, this fierce maternal instinct.
Going head-to-head with the Queen's own protective drive.
Talk about a mama bear showdown.
That final battle, Ripley versus the Queen,
Yeah.
it's iconic for a reason. It taps into those primal fears about protecting our young.
But it also shows Ripley's evolution from survivor to warrior.
She's not just running anymore. She's taking the fight to the xenomorphs.
But then, in 1992, we get Alien 3, and it's a
Bit of a departure.
tough one.
It's often considered the black sheep of the family.
Why do you think it divides fans so much?
Well, Alien 3 strips away the action spectacle of Aliens.
Okay.
And it really forces us to confront this psychological horror,
Yeah.
the existential dread.
David Fincher, the director, he uses this very bleak, almost claustrophobic visual style, doesn't he?
He does. Lots of shadows, tight close-ups. It creates this oppressive atmosphere.
And right from the get-go, killing off Hicks and Newt,
That was a bold move.
it alienated some fans.
Definitely a risky choice.
But do you think it could also be seen as a commentary on the cyclical nature of trauma in this universe?
Ooh, that's an interesting interpretation. I like that.
The inevitability of loss.
Yeah. Alien 3 doesn't offer any easy answers. It forces us to confront the bleak reality of this world.
Where survival often comes at a terrible cost.
Exactly.
And then, of course, we have Alien Resurrection in 1997. Ripley's back, but not as we knew her.
Well, this was a wild ride.
What was the thinking behind bringing her back as this xenomorph-human hybrid?
It was a bold move, for sure. Visually, it's very striking.
Yeah.
Jean-Pierre Jeunet directed it, so it has that distinct look.
Right.
But Resurrection also delves into some really complex themes.
Like what?
Identity, cloning, The very definition of humanity.
Okay, let's break that down a bit.
Okay.
Ripley, now she's essentially a clone infused with xenomorph DNA.
Right.
How does that play into these larger themes?
Well, it raises all sorts of questions, doesn't it? Nature versus nurture, the ethics of cloning.
And this blurring of lines between human and monster.
Exactly. Is Ripley still Ripley? Or is she something else entirely?
And it's that blurring of lines that sets the stage for Ridley Scott's return to the franchise with the prequels.
Going back to the beginning.
Why do you think he felt the need to revisit this universe and explore the xenomorph's origins?
I think he wanted to answer the why. The original Alien focused on the immediate terror of the xenomorph.
Yeah.
But the prequels, they expand the scope.
They ask bigger questions.
About creation, evolution, humanity's place in the grand scheme of things.
So next, we're diving into the prequels, Prometheus and Alien, Covenant.
Get ready for some mind-bending exploration. Prometheus, 2012. Talk about a shift in focus for the franchise.
It was beautiful visually.
No, absolutely stunning.
The landscapes, the engineer's sacrifice.
I know, right? It had this epic scope, almost biblical.
It definitely wasn't just a monster movie anymore.
Right. Prometheus dives headfirst into cosmic horror. It's this idea that we're just a tiny speck in this vast, unknowable universe.
And then you have the engineers.
Advanced beings.
Yeah.
Powerful. Maybe they even created us.
But their motives are still a mystery, really.
Totally shrouded in mystery. And I know that frustrated some viewers.
Did it rely too much on mystery, or do you think those unanswered questions were intentional?
I think it was a deliberate choice. Leaving those gaps makes us confront our own anxieties. The things we just can't understand.
Our place in the universe.
Exactly. It plays on that fear of the unknown. Maybe we aren't meant to understand everything.
And that ties into the idea of scientific hubris, right? That thirst for knowledge that can lead us down a dangerous path.
Exactly. Prometheus is like a cautionary tale. Unchecked ambition.
Our own creations turning against us.
The black goo, the mutated creatures, even David's growing fascination with the engineer's technology.
Okay, let's talk about David.
Such a fascinating character.
He's an android, but he seems to want something more than just to follow his programming.
I think he embodies this tension, creator versus creation. He wants that creative power that the engineers have.
To create life.
But he doesn't have that human empathy, that understanding.
So his interest in the xenomorphs, it's almost like a twisted version of that.
Exactly. He wants to create, to leave his mark on the universe.
Yeah.
But in a very dark way.
And in Covenant, we see just how dark that gets.
2017, Covenant bridges the gap between the philosophical stuff in Prometheus and the classic xenomorph horror.
Yeah, there's definitely more action in Covenant.
It is more action-oriented. But it still has that dread, that claustrophobia that made the first film so effective.
And it reveals that it was David who created the xenomorphs as we know them.
Chilling, isn't it? Changes how we see the whole franchise.
It suggests that maybe the ultimate horror isn't some alien force, but our own creations.
Our own capacity for destruction. Covenant adds this whole other layer to the story.
It's interesting that you say destruction, because one of the things that makes the Alien films so effective is how brutal they are.
Oh yeah, they don't shy away from the violence.
Why do you think that level of violence is necessary?
I don't think it's gratuitous. The violence serves a purpose. It shows just how high the stakes are.
Yeah.
The xenomorphs are killing machines. No mercy.
It makes them even more terrifying.
Exactly. It's primal, instinctive, pure survival.
And it's not just physical violence either.
Right. The films explore the psychological toll these encounters take on the characters.
The trauma, the paranoia.
The exhaustion.
Yeah.
You see it all. It's realistic. It adds this weight to the story.
It reminds you that even if you survive, you'll never really be the same.
Scars run deep.
It makes me think about the Alien versus Predator films.
Oh yeah, the crossover.
They're definitely more action-heavy. Do you think they add anything valuable to the franchise, or are they just a fun distraction?
They're a bit of a departure. But they do play on that basic appeal of pitting two iconic monsters against each other.
It's like a clash of the titans. The xenomorph, the ultimate killing machine, against the predator with its technology and code of honor.
Right, and they introduce this idea of ancient civilizations.
Okay.
That maybe these creatures have been battling it out for centuries.
That's an interesting thought.
It adds this whole other layer of mystery to the Alien universe.
Okay, so let's shift gears for a minute.
Sure.
Talk about the filmmaking itself. What makes the Alien franchise so visually compelling?
It goes beyond just the creature designs. The visual storytelling is amazing.
Like how?
Well, think about the Nostromo. that gritty industrial feel.
Yeah.
Then you have the vast, desolate landscapes of LV-426 and that prison planet in Alien 3 with its gothic atmosphere.
Each film has its own distinct look.
Exactly. And those worlds feel real, don't they?
They do. It's like you can sense the history, the decay.
It's the production design.
Yeah.
All those little details, the chip paint, the flickering lights.
Makes it more immersive.
Definitely. And let's not forget the sound design.
Oh, the sound design is incredible.
So much of the attention comes from the sounds.
And often very subtle.
Right. The silence, the ambient noises, the xenomorphs' hisses and clicks.
Like an alien when Dallas is in the air vents.
Oh, I know. You don't even see the xenomorph, but you hear it getting closer.
Pure nightmare fuel.
Or the dripping water in that derelict spacecraft in Prometheus. So simple, but so unsettling.
Yeah. It's like something's lurking just out of sight.
And another thing, the practical effects.
Oh, yeah. Those are
The
amazing.
xenomorphs, the facehuggers, they were all real, you know?
Well, not real, but...
I know. But they used animatronics, puppets, that kind of filmmaking magic.
It makes those creatures feel tangible.
It does. You feel their weight.
Mm.
And it adds to the realism, which makes the horror more effective.
Yeah, you believe that they could actually exist.
Exactly. That they're a real threat.
And then you have the performances.
The Sigourney Weaver as Ripley. Iconic.
But the supporting casts are great, too.
They bring so much depth to the characters.
It makes their reactions feel more authentic.
They make you care about these people, even when they're facing unimaginable terror.
And those characters, they really stick with you, even beyond Ripley.
Right. Bishop, the synthetic, Hicks, the Marine, Newt, the little girl.
And even Jonesy, the cat.
Sonsi, he survives it all.
It's amazing he makes it out alive.
Each character, big or small, adds something to the alien universe.
It's like a tapestry. And even in this dark, terrifying world, we see those glimmers of hope, the courage, the compassion.
The bonds of human connection, even in the face of death.
Speaking of human connection, the Alien franchise explores this really interesting theme,
Which one?
the relationship between mothers and children. What do you make of that?
It's a recurring theme for sure.
Oh.
You see it with Ripley, especially in Aliens with Newt. That fierce protective instinct.
And then you have the xenomorph queen,
Right, a more primal version of motherhood.
driven by that need to protect her offspring.
And propagate the species. It's like the xenomorphs tap into those fears about childbirth.
The vulnerability.
Yeah, the loss of control, that chest burster scene, it's more than just gore.
It is. It's about something alien taking over your body.
Violating it. It plays on that fear of the unknown, of what's growing inside you.
But even with all that horror, there are glimmers of hope in these films.
Oh, absolutely.
Ripley's courage, her tenacity, it's inspiring.
She's a fighter.
Yeah.
And a survivor. And she never gives up. She's become a feminist icon for a reason.
She has. She redefined what a female action hero could be.
Strong, resourceful, and she takes charge.
And her influence, it goes beyond the screen.
Oh, without a doubt. Think about all the strong female characters in sci-fi and horror that came after Ripley.
She paved the way.
She did. She showed that women could be the heroes of these stories. And the legacy of the Alien franchise, it extends far beyond just character archetypes.
How so?
It's impacted popular culture, design, technology, even philosophy.
That's pretty amazing when you think about it.
Think about it. H.R. Geiger's biomechanical aesthetic, it's everywhere. Album covers, fashion, even architecture.
I've even seen it in furniture design.
Right. And the xenomorph's life cycle has fascinated scientists and the philosophical questions these films raise
What kind of questions?
about corporate greed, the ethics of AI, humanity's place in the universe. People are still debating these things.
It's a testament to how powerful these films are.
Absolutely. They make you think and they stay with you long after the credits roll.
So what's next for the franchise? We have the new TV series coming out.
I'm really curious to see where they go with that one.
It's supposed to focus on the Weyland-Yutani Corporation.
We're rolling all of this, the corporate machinations.
That should be interesting. And then there's the new film,
A standalone story.
rumored to be more horror-focused.
Going back to the roots.
What are you hoping to see in these new additions to the franchise?
I hope they continue to push the boundaries, explore new ideas within this universe.
Like what?
I'd love to see more of the xenomorph mythology, their origins, their society.
Yeah, we still don't know a lot about them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what about the impact of a xenomorph encounter on a larger scale? How would governments react? Religions?
Those are great questions. And of course, there's the action.
Can't forget the action.
Ripley in that power loader, fighting the queen. That was epic.
It was. But the action needs to serve the story.
Not the other way around.
Exactly. The best alien films balance the thrills with the deeper themes and characters you actually care about.
That's the key to the franchise's success.
It keeps us coming back for more, even if it scares the heck out of us.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. Origins, evolution, themes, impact, even the future of the Alien franchise.
A deep dive, for sure.
What's the one takeaway you hope our listener walks away with?
That the alien films are more than just monster movies. They're a reflection of our deepest fears. The unknown, corporate greed, our own destructive potential.
And they offer hope, too. The human spirit enduring even in the face of terror.
Right. The courage to survive, even in the darkest corners of space. So to our listener, go back and revisit your favorite alien film.
Think about those themes that stuck with you.
And next time you look up at the stars, maybe you'll do it with a sense of wonder, but also with a healthy dose of caution.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Alien franchise. Until next time, keep exploring.
And keep those motion trackers handy.